Welcome everyone once again. I think we can start now. This webinar is booked to last for 1 hour. So I will just go ahead to welcome you all and also introduce the speaker for today's webinar. Welcome once again. Let me quickly read the outline of this webinar. We're going to have the welcoming of participants, presentation by the speaker, then closing remarks, vote of thanks. Welcome once again to this webinar. The topic for the webinar is exploring career opportunities in data protection, skills, roles, and industry demands. So we are having this webinar in regards as part of our data protection week for the year. So I'll just go ahead to introduce the speaker. The speaker for today is Mr. Emmanuel Gadasu. He's going to be taking us through this interesting topic. And after then, we can have our question and answer. If you have any question while the webinar is going on, you can drop it in the chat, or we can take it after the webinar. Thank you very much. Let me invite Mr. Emmanuel to take over the presentation.
All right, thank you very much. And it's good to connect again. Every year, the month of January is dedicated for data protection. And precisely on the 28th of January, is marked as World Data Protection Day across most of the countries in the world. All right, so in line with this IIPGH, we are also organizing this to actually enlighten ourselves and to discuss, to help our members and other people also understand or get to know all this hula baloo about data protection. What are the opportunities in there for us as individuals? You know, unfortunately, in Africa and in Ghana, at times when opportunities or new emerging technologies come about, well, we fall short. By the time we try to enter, people have already chewed the meat, suck all the vitamins, and it is left with the bones. They have already moved on to other areas. So it's important. Well, it's still in its early stages in Africa and in Ghana, but we try to see what are the opportunities we can explore so that we take very quick advantages of these opportunities. All right. Yeah, so this is me. Unfortunately, you can't see me today. My camera is not working well, but this is me. All right. Well, so these are some of the few things you have to get to know about me. One, IT background, certified ethical hacker, and all the hula baloo. All right, and recently, well, an adjunct lecturer at Academic City, yes, one of the best investees, and IIPGH, we have a very, very good collaboration with Academic City. Yes, our board chair is the president of that university, and we've been working closely together. All right. Okay, so that's a brief about me. Okay, so this is our outline for presentation or discussion this evening. We are going to look at the introduction, some histories, and delve into the data protection officers' positions that are available and the skills required for data protection careers. We'll also look at a few opportunities here in Ghana and other parts of the world. Well, definitely there are going to be some challenges. We'll try to see the challenges ahead of us. Then finally, there'll be a call to action. A call to action. What are you supposed to do? All right. Okay, so we'll begin quickly. Now, looking at it from this perspective.
Sorry, Mr. Emmanuel, are you presenting your screen?
Yes.
We can't, it's not up on my side. So.
Is that the case for everybody?
No, I can see.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I'll just reconnect.
All right. Okay. Okay. So the objective is to provide insight into the growing field of data protection. We also outline the skills, highlight some potential career path, and emphasize industry demand. Well, why does data protection matter? We'll be looking at that. Of course, in a data-driven world where we find ourselves today, I believe with you right now, you may be having more than one device that generates data onto the internet. You may have a phone, probably that 2 Android phone, 2 iPhones, or 1 iPhone, 1 Android phone, and a computer at least. And all these are generating huge volumes of data. Okay. And organizational data is critical for trust. We also look at what the market landscape. Global data protection market is projected to reach 20 billion USD by 2026, according to Statista. Okay, 20 billion by 2026. We are in 2025. So just within the next 1 year or 2 years, that is how the market for data protection is projected to reach. So out of this 20 billion, how much are you going to make for yourself as well? All right, so let's see. Okay, so a little bit about the history of privacy. Now, the debate over privacy dates back to the dawn of time. I will present the timelines for you to see very soon. But privacy actually began with the protection of our bodies, okay? Right from the days of Adam, according to Bible, as a reference. When Adam and Eve ate the apple, they have violated the law. When God, who created them, came back, they were trying to hide part of their bodies from God. Well, it is not their entire body. There were parts of the body that they decided to what? Hid from God. So they were controlling some aspect of their body. Now it has evolved to a point where we are protecting our houses. So people build houses and put walls around what? These houses. All right. Then it has now transcended to the point where we decide the information about us that other people can actually what? Have access to. So for example, when you put information on your status, you decide the people who can have access to this information about you. You decide to share your information. Hello, Andy Tay, check your microphone. Yeah, thank you. All right. Now, in the year 1891, this is where the word privacy came to light in academia. So these two lawyers, Samuel Warren and Louis Brandeis, defined privacy as what? The right to be left alone. The right to be left alone. All right. Then aftermath of the Second World War also presented some very significant things for us to note. There were issues concerning arbitrary disturbance of people's lives. People were just arbitrarily searched, interrupted, and as to who fought on the war, which side you were, there were a lot of violation of people's rights. All right. And anytime in this world that we have issues concerning or issues that becomes what a matter of public concern, the world bodies or authorities try to find a way of addressing these issues. So in the year 1950, the EU Convention on Human Rights, okay, came out with regulation on how to protect this right of people. Ghana was also not left alone. So in the year 1992, when we put in place our constitution, Article 18.2, also what gave every Ghanaian citizens the right to their privacy, the right to own properties. Then, fast track to the year 2012, Ghana came out with a comprehensive regulation law called the Data Protection Act 2012, or Act 843, that details how people's information are collected, processed, and used by organizations in Ghana, or every Ghanaian citizen's data. Now, there are some very, very interesting things that happened between the year 1940 and 1960. All right, if you look at these areas, these years of about 20 years, this was the period where a lot of inventions happened in the world. And these inventions also contributed to the invasion of privacy or the sharing of privacy, people's information. That led to the loss of control, okay, over people's information. So let's take a look at it. Prior to the invention of the pinhole camera or camera photograph or whatever you have today, our phone cameras and other things like that, okay? Prior to these inventions, there was no way you were going to see somebody's picture anywhere. So that means until you have met the person physically, you are never going to see this person. But the invention of the pinhole camera presented opportunity for somebody's picture to be taken and shared. Not only that, the facsimile machine also was within this same period. So what it means is that somebody can take a picture in Tamale and fax it to Accra. So you see, now we're losing control over the information or about people. So somebody could take your photograph and fax it to anywhere. Not only that, the invention of newspaper publication also happened around this same time. So newsletters, so before you realize your picture is taken, it is published in the graphic and distributed across the country. Not only that, the advent of network and today the intranet back then that has culminated to internet today, of course, which you and I are enjoying right now. What it means is that something happens quickly and that information can be shared across the world. Not only that, social media has also added up. Now, within a second, something can go viral across the world. Everybody will see it within some seconds. So you see, technology has contributed to, we losing control over something that we could have easily protected. All right. Now, some very important timelines for us. Okay, so if you look at, these are very key dates, okay, in the issue or in the discussion concerning privacy. So in the year 1891, the Right to Privacy as published by Brandes and his friend, Warren and Brandes. Then in 1948, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, okay, the abuses that were happening around that time. So the right to privacy as a fundamental human right was declared as far back in 1948. 1973, that was when Sweden Data Act. So you see, Ghana came with Data Protection Act in 2012. Somebody has taken the lead in 1973. The first data protection law requiring licensing for handling personal data was back then. Now, you fast track to Ghana, 1992, our constitution, Introduction to the Right to Privacy, Article 18.2, as mentioned earlier. Then in 1995, the EU Data Protection Directive, which also was a framework for EU member states. Now, 2012, Ghana, we came with our own law, 16th October. All right. Then in 2016, the GDPR started. Okay. Then in 2018, GDPR was enforced. Now, the reason why we are going to focus on GDPR is that GDPR is considered as one of the strongest laws across the world that revolutionized the issue of data protection and privacy. All right. Okay, now let's look at some penalties. What makes the GDPR very dangerous? Okay, very, very dangerous. And you don't have to joke with it. All right. So now let's see. Now, these are fines that if you violate what the GDPR regulations, these are fines that could be meted out to you. So let's look at it. Spain fined what? Google LLC what? 10 million euros. These are all quoted in euros. And what was their offense? Insufficient legal basis for processing data. Now, look at the keyword there. Not that there was absence of it, but they say what you have there is insufficient to protect people, to give people's what rights to them. Okay, the opportunity to exercise their rights. So what you have there is insufficient. In 2021, also France. So these are the authorities, okay, in these respective countries. So for example, in Ghana, this could have been the Data Protection Commission. All right, also find what Google, what 90 million what euros. Not only that, France did it in 2019. Sweden also has done it. So all to Google. So what this is also telling us is that the fact that you have been fined by one country does not mean another country cannot fine you. These are all in the EU, which even puts them together. All right. Now let's look at a very interesting one. See, Meta platform. So Facebook, what you and I have been using all the time. The Irish, Data Protection Authority is one of the ruthless and, very controversial. They will hold you by the neck. So look at the same authority has consistently fined what? Meta platforms. So you wouldn't say because you find me yesterday, so no, it doesn't happen. And look at, we are not talking about small, meager fine. We are talking about millions. So look at it from 2022. There were plenty before that. Look at it, 17 million euros. 6 months after, 405 million euros. 2 months after, 265 million euros. Okay, then 3 months again, 390 million euros. Then 4 months in succession, 1.2 billion euros. Then in 2020, last year, September 2017, 91 million euros. Look at it. What are the offenses? Mostly what? Insufficient technical and organizational measures to ensure information security. Okay, non-compliance with general data processing principles. All right, insufficient technical and organizational measures to ensure information security. So you see, well, to us, the ordinary user, you think the platforms are safe, but the regulator is saying, no, you have not put in place the appropriate measures. And we are talking about technical and organizational. So maybe encryption, other methodologies to secure the data, then organizational measures, access controls, policies that must be in place are not there. So they are insufficient, or they are there, but they cannot actually address the issue. So that is the reason why. So consistently, the Irish listen, don't joke with them. Now, what it is informing us is that if tomorrow your organization or another organization wants to deal with this international company, they are very critical about your position in data protection. Do you have a data protection officer? Have you put in place the right measure? Else, whatever affects you because of that partnership, they can be affected. Now, we will get to know why these things are very, very hefty this way. All right. So now, what at all is this data protection thing that we are talking about? So data protection simply refers to the practices, policies, and technologies designed to safeguard personal and organizational data from unauthorized access, breach, and misuse. Now, access, we can have some level of control over the breaches today. Yes, in some way, somehow, if your information security team and you have the right technology, you can at least minimize this. What about misuse? Misuse is when the organization itself is misusing the data. So before you realize they are not using your data for the purpose for which they collected it, they are using it for other means. So, for example, you and I, we have uploaded or signed up to a platform. Before you realize, they are marketing to you, they have sold your data to third parties. They have shared with what? Insurance companies, financial institutions, they are sending you message. That is a misuse. So data protection is to prevent you from these things, okay? So it's not something that is one, but it's a myriad of things that must be put in there to prevent this thing. So you ought to safeguard your data, the data that you signed up with, the data you have with that hospital, with that bank, with that church, with that school, with that, mosque, all these are there. All right, now let's look at the key regulations driving the demand. Now, I made mention of the GDPR. GDPR stands for General Data Protection Regulation. And this is what? An enactment or law, regulation within the EU, the European Union. Okay? UK, because of Brexit, they went out. They were also part of it. So they have gone out. They have their own laws also now, but it is very similar. All right? So that's a GDPR. So you'll be hearing this across the, the language or the spaces of what data protection. We call it in the industry, or we refer it what as the mother of what data protection regulations that is in the world. Very, very strict, stubborn, and compassion. All right. Then the next one you hear is the CCPA. Okay, because America is a federal state, every state have their own laws. But the most biting one that also revolutionized the world that people are very careful with is the CCPA, California Consumer Privacy Act. It is also very, very biting, as we are going to get to know very soon. Then we also have, when it comes to Africa, data protection laws. We have the Ghana Protection Act 2012. We have the Nigerian Data Protection Act. We have that of Kenya. We have POPI Act. POPI Act refers to that of South Africa. That is Protection of what? Personal Information Act. Another one that we have is in the India one, DPDP. Okay, Digital Personal Data Protection. All right, we have PEPIDA of what? Canada. It is also there. You see, these are all laws that are very biting. But I just decided to focus on these ones, okay? Now, we also have sector-specific regulation like the HIPAA for healthcare in the US, okay? Then we also have the PCI DSS for payment system. So anybody in the financial industry or that uses card, before you can use ATM card and be processing cross-platform, payment system, you have to be certified for the PCI DSS, framework. All right, so now let's look at the GDPR. What makes the GDPR very strong like that? So GDPR says a maximum fine. That is, if you violate any of their principles of the regulations, you can be fined to a maximum tune of 20 million euros. Okay? Or 4% of the company's total annual turnover, global turnover, whichever is higher. So if the 20 million is mentioned here, they say whichever is higher, so either 20 million or 4% of the company's total annual turnover. So look at it. So the Irish authorities were finding Google that much because they may be using what? The 4% of Google's what? Annual turnover. So you can imagine if 4% of your total annual turnover is going to be used as what? Payment for penalty. How much will be left for you? Turnover, they didn't say after profit or whatever, the finance people can explain better. But this is your turnover, the entire money you have made in the year. Then fines are divided into tiers based on the severity of the violation. So we have level 1 fines, which are up to 10 million euros or 2% of the company's annual revenue. Then we have the level 2, which is up to the 20 million euros or 4% of the total annual revenue. Then other penalties include, so it is not always that it is monetary, but there are times that the penalty is a reprimand. They will reprimand you. There are times also that it is what? Temporary or definitive bans on processing or warnings for likelihood infringement. So you can be banned for some period of time not to process data, not to collect, not to use people's data or customers' data. Or you can also be warned that you have done this and that. Next time, if you do that, this is what we are going to do to you. So it is not only monetary, but it starts from somewhere. But these are based on what? The severity and the impact of what it has had on people. All right. Then the CCPA, which is the California Consumer Privacy Act. Okay, now this is how CCPA does the fine. for every breach that occurs, okay, the income threshold to qualify as a business covered by is now what? Now they've increased it just this year, okay? It's now 265 what? 26,625,000 what? Dollars, which is what? In annual revenue, up from the previous threshold, which was what? 25 what million flat. Now there are monetary damages. The range of potential damage per consumer per incident, look at it very carefully, has been adjusted to a minimum of what? 107 instead of what? And a maximum of what? 799. That means if a breach happens, I'm explaining this in very well. If a breach happens, they are going to count every single person, consumers of your customers who have been affected. They are going to calculate everyone is going to be multiplied by a minimum of $107. So you can imagine if 100,000 of your what? The data breach affected what? 100,000 people. 100,000 multiplied by 107 what? Dollars per individual affected. You can imagine how much you are going to pay. So if it is up to 799 what? Dollars, multiply by that number of customers that have been affected and see. And look at the global trend. When these things happen, we talk about millions of people being affected. So if they multiply 799, which is the maximum, you can imagine what will happen. So this year, it was just increased. Previous years, as at 2024, it was 100 up to 750. But now, 107 up to 799. Every year, they review and increase it. Then there can also be an administrative fine. Okay? For each violation, the fine is now capped at what? $2,663 what? Dollars. All right? So look at the severity of this. No organization would want to temper or joke with data protection, especially when they are dealing with what? These foreign organizations. Today, I had a time, okay, of being on call with somebody in the US, a Ghanaian who has relocated in the US about these things that we are talking. For one solid hour, we're having a discussion on this. All right. Then there are also civil penalties, which is similar what we call what's commonly called what? Administrative fines. Okay. Civil penalties have been increased to a maximum of what? 2,600 per violation and 7,980 for intentional violations or those involving minors. So if children information is part of it, then the violation per violation, administrative fines alone is going to be what? 7,988 what? US. And now, you see, the reason why this is important is that data protection laws are extraterritorial. That means it goes beyond the land of America. It goes beyond the borders of the EU. So if you are a Ghanaian company and you are processing what EU citizens data, the GDPR applies to you. The same way, if you are processing California citizens' data in Ghana, the law applies to you. So the fact that you are in Ghana does not mean you are safe. No. All right. Now let's look at our Ghanaian one. Well, ours is not too strong, but the most difficult thing is the prison terms. So Ghana, this is how ours is. Okay, forced registration. Okay, I intentionally broke down the Ghanaian one so that you understand exactly, because this is our jurisdiction, so we need to have an understanding. If you are going to register with the Data Protection Commission and you provide wrong information in registering, okay, Section 47(2) prescribes the penalty, and the penalty is you are fined liable to what? Penalty unit. Ghana, this is a penalty unit, okay, 150 penalty units, or a prison term of 1 year, or to both. Now, one penalty unit currently is 12 cedis. So you multiply 150 by 12. That will give you the amount in terms of cedis that you are going to pay. All right. And I think so far that is the minimum penalty in terms of money that you can pay. Well, which is what? 150 times 12. Well, that is 1,800. This is nothing compared to what we were seeing there. All right. Or you will go to a prison for 1 year, or both. So the most painful aspect of our Ghanaian law is that you will go to prison. So you pay a fine and go to prison in addition. Okay. Now, these are all the penalties, but the highest you can get is 5,000 penalty units or to a prison term of 10 years. So if your organization, depending on the severity of the breach, you can be fined 5,000 penalty units times 12. That is 60,000 Ghana cedis. And again, go to prison for 10 years. But you ask me, it is the organization. Can they take the entire organization to prison? No. The law says that the ultimate decision maker. So in your company, who is the ultimate decision maker? Is it the CEO? Is it the founder of the organization or the board chair? That is a matter of law to be determined. When the time comes and you go to court, the court will get to know who is the ultimate decision maker. So can you imagine, as the ultimate decision maker, let's say you are the CEO, it's a sole proprietorship, a very big one, all right? Then something happens. You were not there. But because you are the ultimate decision maker, your company has been fined to pay what, 60,000 Ghana cedis. For that one, maybe we on this platform, we can contribute. We are 87 right now, divided by this, we can help you pay that amount. But what about the prison terms? How many of us here will be willing to go to prison for you for 1 hour? Nobody will do that. We'll tell you, okay, go. We are sorry, we'll take care of the kids, okay? We'll be visiting your wife and children or your husband. That way we can help you do it, but we will say it, but we will not even do it, okay? So that's how come it is important. So you may not be the one to do it, but because it's a Fed organization. Now, things like failure to comply with notice and other, failure to register. So if you have not registered your organization with the Data Protection Commission, the law says that Section 56, penalty unit 250 or to 2 years. So if you are here and your organization has not registered with the Data Protection Commission, this is the potential lesson. The fact that it has not reached your turn to be arrested or whatever does not mean you should take these things for granted. These are matters of law. All right. Now, upon all these things, okay, industry demand for data protection professionals. So anyone with this understanding wouldn't want their organization to fall into trouble. You see, now, well, I don't want to mention any brand's name, so let me just but there are some organizations here in Ghana, when you mention their name, you know what they have done wrong. All right? You will know what they have done wrong. Okay? Well, some Lebanese company, if you know, I don't want to mention it, but you know, they mentioned their name, they were putting pepper into people's eye. The moment they mention that, you know what is wrong with them. Now, can you imagine your organization is beyond the penalties and whatever? Yes, the penalty you have paid, you didn't go to prison. But the moment they mention what your organization name, it is linked to what people's data being breached or being accessed. Now, if I mention Cambridge Analytica, what comes to your mind? Does it ring a bell to you? All right. Now, there's a growing threat landscape across the world. So every country wants to protect their citizens. Okay. So increase in data breaches and cyber attacks. I know my seniors and other colleagues into cyber security will tell us more about this issue happening day in and day. The ones that you hear, the ones that you don't hear. There are so many breaches. So there's the demand to protect data, and we need cyber security and data security, data protection professionals to ensure that the right thing is done. Then the need for compliance with global and regional regulations. I made mention about the GDPR. We talked about the CCPA. We have spoken about the Ghanaian law. Of course, you would want to comply. Now, there are some situations or organizations that if you want to deal with them, the first thing they are going to ask is your data protection certificates. I don't know if it has happened to your organization, but I can tell you for a fact that there's no way any fintech or any platform that processes for electronic mobile money and others are going to be set up in Ghana without a data protection certificate. Bank of Ghana will not register you. And very soon, it will be included as part of what requirement for contracts, just like the way you must have a VAT, SNAT and PPA certificate before you can get a contract. Very soon, this is also going to be part in most systems that you do. So very soon, before you go to renew this with what? Register General. If you don't produce your data protection certificate, you are not going to get it. Now, the sectors also in need of data protection professional as well, the financial services. Of course, you have seen what we are talking about. Banking, insurance, and fintech, they need a lot of data protection professional. Then the healthcare, hospitals, clinics, and health techs, now online healthcare services provided, they need this. E-commerce and retail, government agencies and NGOs, and technology companies. Of course, there are a lot of technology companies coming on board. Most of them, some of them are not even aware of these things. By the time they get to know and are aware of this, the professional is ready to be hired. All right. Now, what are some of the data protection positions? So we have in-house data protection officers. Now in Ghana, our law says they should call us data protection supervisors, but globally it is known as what? Data protection officers. So you see the word DPO. Now we have what we call the in-house DPO. These are people who are employed by the organization, just like the way an accountant, IT, and other things. So you are with them in-house. So large corporations need you, okay, and they employ the in-house data protection officers. Now, government agencies. No, per our Ghanaian law, okay, it mandates government agencies to have data protection officers. Just like the way the RTI law requires that every government organization or institution should have an RTI officer. Okay. So yes, how many government organizations they don't have? So if you prepare yourself, it is likely you can get a government position. You are not the one President Mahama is appointing. You know, this one you apply and you are employed. Okay, you go through the normal processes. So government agencies, the universities and hospitals, these institutions also had the significant amount of personal data and often require dedicated data protection officers. So this one is like, you see, the organization that can hire accountants. Okay, whenever they need their accounts to be prepared, you go and prepare as a consultant coming in. But the organizations that they need accountant there every day. So that is how the nature is. Now, currently as we speak, we are doing training. Okay, the organization I work for, we are doing training for data protection. We do it every month. It is done every single month. Okay, and we always ask them to go and investigate about organizations and other things. And most of our top investors, the public investors, they don't even have privacy notice on their website. They don't have. Of course, it is the work of the DPO to guide the institution to get this one. Then you can also come in as a consulting data protection officer. So these are independent consultants. Okay, providing data protection expertise to multiple organizations on contractual basis. So of course, you have the acumen, the necessary tools. So you are consultants in a DPO consultant. So organization will be requiring of your service. Just like the way accountants and auditors are, when you need them, you contact them for their service. So yes, IT is also going the same way. You know, a lot of people want to work independently. Yes, you don't want to be waking up every morning. So you are a consultant. As and when they need you, you go in, provide the service, and they pay you. Then data privacy consulting firms. Now, a lot of issues are bordering on data protection issues. You may not see it in Ghana, but if you follow closely across the world and other places, there are very serious issues emanating as a result of data protection issues. In Nigeria, loan companies, call them these loan sharks. Of course, Ghana, we have them. There have been issues. 2 years ago, the Data Protection Commission banned 99 microfinance institution. I'm sure you heard it in the news. These firms need consultants. Okay, so organizations are also consulting firms just for data protection. Just the way we have for accounting consultants and medical consultants, there are also firms providing this. Okay, all right. Then there are other positions like data protection specialists. So there are a UN project or some government project that is coming up. They need specialists who will speak to the matter. Okay. I think Ministry of Gender, Children, and Special Protection have been in the news. Of course, if they are doing projects, they are taking people, they need specialists who advise them. Then there are also academic roles. Individuals with expertise in data protection may also pursue academic careers, teaching and researching data privacy law and best practices. Okay, these roles are also there. All right. Now, what are some of the skills required for data protection career? So first, let's look at the technical skills, okay? So with the technical skills, understanding of privacy laws and regulations like the GDPR, CCPA, Ghana's Data Protection Act 2012, Nigeria's Data Protection, Kenya, POPIA, PIPEDA, you need to have an understanding of this privacy law. The reason why it is important is that right now you are in Ghana, you are consulting for Europe, Germany. You are not going to use the Ghanaian law. You would have to deal with the GDPR. So you are here, you are being provided a consultancy service in the US. You would have to provide it based on the CCPA. So you will need to have an understanding of these regulatory laws. So of course, if you want to go and practice in the EU, okay, then make sure you go by our GDPR. You know it what inside out. You understand the import of it. All right. Then the knowledge of cybersecurity principles and practice. I'm not saying, or we are not saying go and be a serious technical hacking skills and other, but you have an understanding of the principle. When we say cybersecurity, what is involved, what do we need to do? Then understanding of what data encryption, access control, incident response. These are petty things that you have an idea. Then experience with what? PETs, what we call privacy enhancing technologies. Of course, these are modern day or emerging technologies that are coming up. So you need to have an understanding of these things. Then compliance and risk management skills, auditing knowledge and skills are also very important. Okay, because privacy, for example, going to conduct a DPIA is like you are going to do a risk assessment. Okay, you need to understand what risk is, how auditing is done. So, for example, you are going to audit what? Privacy audit. You are going to conduct privacy audit for an organization. You need to have a knowledge and understanding in auditing, okay, to be able to do that. IT audit, whichever audit, they are key. You follow that same principle. Then the soft skills are analytical thinking, problem solving, effective communication, and stakeholder management. Now, stakeholder management is very key here because you need to be able to communicate. So, for example, after this, let's say you are going to talk to your management about the importance of what? Data protection. How you approach the communication, the channel of communication to use, they are very, very key. Stakeholder management, people involved in processing data in the organization. You have IT people doing the system, marketing people assessing the data and using and other things. How do you bring these people together to understand from their point of view what the implications are? Then project management and organizational skills. Then seriously is attention to detail. Of course, these are generic skills that are needed in most fields anyway, but here you need it more and more and more. All right. Now, what are some of the certifications that could boost your career? Now, we have quite a lot of them available now. Now, one key association is what we call the International Association of Privacy Practitioners, IAPP. So you can visit iapp.org to read about the many certifications that they have, okay? All right, so we have Certified Information Privacy Professional, CIPP. Now, you would see the /E/US, we have /CN, we have /CA. The meaning is this. /E is for Europe. The reason is that, you see, the laws or the practice are jurisdiction specific. Like I said, if you want to go and practice in Europe, you have to understand GDPR and have command over it. If you are going to the US, then what US has made it, but the main one there is the CCPA. So /E means that this is curtailed specific for Europe, and CIPP/US for US. So you see CN is for China. You see CA is for Canada. All right. Yes, so those are the meanings. So if you are going to choose, you would have to choose one of them. So there's nothing like CIPP, just CIPP. No, but you rather have CIPP/E/yes. All right. Okay. That's it. All right. Then you also have the CIPM. So the CIPM is what? Certified Information Privacy Manager. So this is the managerial aspect of it. All right. Okay. Then Certified Ethical Hacker, Forensic Investigator. All these things are also certificate that can boost any career in what? Data protection. Then we also have what? The ISO 27000 lead implementer or auditor. They are also very key. Now, the recent one, which will, I think in March is going to come, is the ISO 27701. Okay, that is for information privacy management. 27001 is for IT systems. Okay, so those who know. Anyway, don't bother yourself. These are more IT technical stuff. However, it doesn't prevent you. All these other ones, you don't need any basics. You only need the acumen, the understanding, and the vigor to learn. All the other ones, CEH is technical, ISO implementation may be technical. Then CIPP, CISPP. I think anybody in security knows this is one of the highest security, professional. So if you have it, it's easier to delve down into this and then come up. Then there's CHFI, computer forensic, hacking forensic investigator. All right. So these are some of the core things that are needed to boost your career. So you are not saying you should by all means have them, but to boost your career. Now, what are the steps to build a career in data protection? Number one, acquire knowledge. It's good you are here. Okay, we are now 90 people here. Yes, it's good. So we are all here to acquire knowledge. Okay, it's very important. So you take foundational courses in data protection and privacy. Understand key regulations in your jurisdiction. So Allison has a lot of data protection courses. You see, fine. They give you the basics, the understanding, okay, to lay a proper foundation. I don't remember I can't remember the number of courses I've done in on Allison platform, on LinkedIn Learning. I've done quite a lot. Okay, Allison and all these ones, these MOOCs courses, massive online blah 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 courses. A lot of them, and some of them are for free. Some you have to pay. All right. Just before coming here, I joined Africa Privacy Hub. Why? I still have to acquire knowledge. In 2 days' time, Friday, I'm going to join a seminar, a webinar in India. I have registered and I will join. I have done some in the Philippines. The time difference is 6+. So you'd have to wake up around 2 a.m. just to join their 8 a.m. courses. That is the acquisition of knowledge. Because you see, the reason why knowledge acquisition in this area is important, these are matter of law. Because if you don't do something well, look at the hefty fines that will come to your organization. So any organization going to engage you would want to make sure they are going for the best. It's not just having the certification. The certification is a proof that yes, we have done something, but your knowledge. And you and I know, for example, if we are engaging somebody who has knowledge in something, the first 5 minutes, any other thing, whether the person can do the job, you will know. If the person knows what he's talking about, you will know. All right, then you obtain certification. So you see, first of all, you need to understand the law, get the knowledge, build the foundation. Then now you start pursuing certification to be recognized. So the CIPPE and the rest we're talking about. Okay, then you get practical experience. You start with internships, entry-level roles, and volunteering opportunities in data protection. So you get to do that. I started a number of ways. Okay, my church, I try to educate, my school, everywhere. I have to talk about it. Okay, doing free works, freelance work for people and other things, pro bono, all the time, just to get the experience. Now, you also build a network, join professional associates like the IIPP. We also have GAP. So IIPP is the international level. We also have the Ghana Association of Privacy Professionals. Okay, the website will be up very soon. Is there? Yes, you can link up later to you. But these are for professional. This one, if you don't have any of their certifications, you can't join. All right. So after having the certification, you have to join these platforms. You attend webinars, workshops, and conferences. Now, last year, I think almost the latter part, in November, I took time to really build my LinkedIn profile. And unless I don't see that you have something to do with data protection, I will connect. So about 70% of my connections on LinkedIn are people in the practice. I want to build network. Today, the person who led the African Hub, okay, the Africa Hub, the moderator, okay, is a South African, and she is a a board member for Stanbic Bank. I connected with her. She came to Ghana. We met at Stanbic High to have a discussion. I connected to her on LinkedIn before she came to Ghana. So I knew it. I connected to another guy, Redwan, okay, from Rwanda. He came to Ghana eventually. I met him at Osu. So I built my connection on LinkedIn. That is what it is for. Well, if you like, go and follow me and you see the network that I have. All the people you see, either they are CIPP, CDPL, those are the people I connect with. Just today, on the conference, somebody said, connect with me on LinkedIn. Quickly, I went. And he's a data protection officer in Eswatini. Of course, I connected quickly. I introduced myself. That is the first thing I've done. All right. So the next time this guy is going to post something, I'm going to follow it, get understanding, and follow. I am building my network in that area. Then you also need to specialize, focus on specific areas like healthcare, privacy, fintech, compliance, and forensic investigations. These are key areas you can also, build yourself and connect yourself in. All right. Now, what are the opportunities in Ghana? Okay. Now, the regulatory landscape, emerging data protection laws across Africa are creating demand for experts. Yes, that is true. So in Ghana here, now data protection. So very soon, a lot of organizations are looking for what? Data protection professionals. They have their compliance issues to be dealt with and others. They will definitely talk to you. Of course, if you are not, how are you going to hear? All right. But if you have the right requisite skills, definitely, yes, you will be known. Somebody will push something to you at all costs. All right. Then government and public sector need for compliance in state agencies. Of course, we are all talking and blaming some organization. I don't want to mention any government bodies, but I'm sure you are. If they enroll you today, tomorrow morning, somebody is contacting you to give you loan through SMS. These organizations all need solutions. Then startups and SMEs. The law says that 21 days after registering your company, you have to register with the Data Protection Commission. That is what is in the act. Okay? That is what is in the act. So a lot of these companies that are coming up, startups and SMEs, there's a growing awareness of the importance of privacy. So they would want to comply because it is a matter of law. Now, one of the universities that I know, a private university, they lost a huge contract because they wanted to engage to get a very big funding. But when the institution went to their website, there was no privacy policy. So they said, no, you can't be an investor, you don't have. So how are you going to treat the data? So they lost that. The following morning, they brought 4 of their people to come for training. The opportunity is already gone. Now, training and education, increasing demand for trainers and consultants to upscale what? Workforce. Organizations need to be training their people, okay, their workforce about data protection and issues. Of course, if you are a consultant, you are a trainer, you can go for this awareness training, and there you go. All right. Then what are the challenges? Of course, everywhere there are challenges, okay? All right. So some of the challenges are the evolving regulations. Now, staying updated with changes in law is very critical. Today, I was able to tell you that the CCP of California, they have changed what? Their threshold and the cost. You see, you have to be reading all the time. You have to be following the laws because laws change. They are living organisms. They change very quickly. All right. For example, some years ago, I think about more than 10 years ago, Cape Verde was the first country in Africa to enact a comprehensive privacy law, followed by Ghana. They have changed their law again. How would you know? Last year in December, Cameroon also approved for their data protection. So you have to be in the space, getting to know whatever is happening around you in that system, because that is where you are. So reading is a must. You have to read, document a lot, laws. So you have to read your Ghanaian law, read that of Nigeria, and understand. Kenya is there, Rwanda is there, you know. All right. Then resource control, limited access to tools and training in some regions. Yes, of course. Maybe some of us, maybe today might be the first day you are hearing about data protection. But the data protection law has been since 2012. 2012 to now is how many years? So 2022 was 10 years, all right? So 13 years now, this law has been there. The fact that you have not heard about it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So if you joke, it will go against you. Then awareness gaps, need for more advocacy and education. Not all people, okay? Well, the law says if you process data, you have to register. So by virtue of that law, all mobile money people, when they go, they write your phone number, it's collection of personal, they have to register. So you see, the Data Protection Commission is cautious and it's introducing it gradually. A time will come, all these people, before you can do that business, your barbering shop, your boutique shop. So long as if you take people's name and phone number, you would have to. You are a seamstress, a fashion designer. When people can, customers can, you write their names and other things. So you can imagine a fashion designer that is very busy, established since the year 2000 up to now. Look at the volume of data they would have been dealing with. Okay, so if the law said they have to register so that they are shown how to protect people's data, it is in line. All right. Now, my conclusion. Data protection is not just a compliance requirement, but a critical business enabler. The field offers diverse and rewarding career paths for those with the right skills and mindsets. So if you are ready to go into it, yes. The field offers diverse and rewarding career path for those. Oh, I think that was a repetition. Sorry. All right. So that is all to say that what? It is rewarding. The opportunities ahead. It is still in its infantile stages. Yes, it's over a decade, but it is growing up in Ghana. So the earlier you prepare yourself for this, the better it will be for you. All right, a call to action. What are you supposed to do? All right, so number one, certificate and training programs. Of course, we've talked about, so explore certifications and training programs that are available. All right, conferences and webinars. Thank God you are here. Anytime you hear anything about data protection again, join. It's a simple way to get knowledge and understanding. Then leverage the growing demand for privacy professionals in emerging markets. The market is coming up. Prepare yourself for it. Then opportunities. Embrace the opportunities ahead with confidence and preparedness. If you are prepared, you are not afraid. I'm not so old, but a little I've experienced. You see, in the year 2000 upwards, okay, of course, that is what led me to go into IT. I got my admission to do IT in university, okay, in the year 2004. So I ran those time 2012. That everything IT. So I also went into it, and of course, it has paid for me today. So at a point, IT became a hot cake. Everybody was doing IT. So by the time a lot of people entered, and those were the years, if you look at it, IPMC, NIT, if you don't have certification from them, that means you the IT, you don't see top. All right. Every university started doing IT. So everybody doing IT. All right. Of course. Now, by a point came, it became so massive that, the industry is overwhelmed. So everybody has IT, yes, but not all of them are doing IT. Then came the year 2000 and 2011, 2010, no, 2008, when Ghana discovered oil, upwards up to 2012. Everything about oil and gas. A lot of people masters in this, and all the universities started introducing courses in oil and gas. Of course, the foreigners have already taken their technical job. People were doing classroom PowerPoint, oil and gas. You go there at Wabo, you can't go and operate anything. So you see, yes, you may have the certification, but you are too late. You may have but you are what? Too late to have those things on board. So this time around, I don't want us, thank God for IIPGH. We don't want us to be late. Let's get in faster, smoother, with speed to grab the opportunity so that it will not be remaining what? Only bones for us again. All right. So this is where I bring the curtains down for this presentation. Time for questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel. Knowledge is indeed power. Thank you for this empowerment. So I'll just take some questions in the chat. Okay. With the rise of AI-driven data analytics, how can organizations effectively balance leveraging advanced data insights while ensuring compliance with data protection regulations like GDPR, as mentioned, particularly in handling sensitive data and anonymized data?
Okay, so this has been one of the greatest challenges currently as we speak. These generative AIs are causing a lot of issues, and France has started it. They have actually, handed some very hefty penalties for open AI. Okay, Chat GPT. They find them because it was using people's information for testing their algorithms and other things. Now, the law is not saying don't do it, but do it in a very compliant way. So you are telling the people, okay, your information will be used for this. The person will give consent that yes, you can use for it. So yes, there's a balance. Do it in a very compliant way by ensuring that you have the technical systems, you have the organizational system to protect the individual. Once you can prove that, okay, then you are good to go. So sensitive data, if you anonymize it, anonymized data cannot identify anyone. And the European Court of Justice, ECGU, okay, has actually ruled that if you have anonymized the data, an anonymized data You can't reverse it to know the individual. But there are differences. We have pseudonymized data and we have anonymized data. If it is pseudonymized, within some context, you can reverse the data and get to know the individual. But if it is anonymized, we can't know the individual. Hence, it can be personal. So if you can prove that the data you are using, you have anonymized them, you have encrypted them, then you can go ahead and use data in a very compliant way to ensure that you comply with the GDPR and any other law that will come up. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Let me take the last question in the chat. It says, what is Africa doing to harmonize data protection regulation across the continent like Europe has in its GDPR?
Okay. In the year 2014, there was this convention we call the Malabo Convention. So you can Google it and find out the Malabo Convention. It's an EU program, okay? Convention that talks on cyber security and data protection. So it was agreed that the African continent, will also harmonize. But as of now, not all the countries have even ratified it. Okay, ratification that where the nations, it is at the EU level and it's not binding on any country until the countries go to their parliament to ratify it, to accept it as a law. Not all the African countries have done that, so it will be very impossible. But quite a number of them have also ratified down. So it will be becoming something that we are expecting that in the very near future, we should have a harmonized one that will cut across all the African or all the EU, countries across Africa. So, well, we can say, let me use the politician language for you, it's work in progress, or it's in the pipeline.
Okay, thank you very much. So thank you, everyone. Let me just invite Mr. Richard to take the next action.
Okay, I think somebody also asked, what privacy cost do you have? How much? Okay, so let me show this slide. Okay. Yes, so scan this. This is just an idea for you to know. In Ghana currently, okay, in Ghana, the CDPS, which is done by the Data Protection Commission, is called the Certified Data Protection Supervisor course. Okay, there are 3 accredited institutions that does this course, okay, and I work with one of them. Anyway, now with this, the cost, this is inclusive for the exams and other things. It ranges from 8,000 to 12,000 Ghana cedis. All right, depending on which of the institutions that you are dealing with and whether it is physical or online. Between 8,000, and it's for 5 days. To be frank, when I did my course in March 2019, and I think we were the second or the third batch or so in Ghana. As at that time, paying 8,000, I told myself it's the single most expensive course I had ever done in my life as at that time. For 5 days, but it is worth it. I can tell you. Now, when you go to the international scene, CIPN, CIPPE, and the rest, the cost for the exam as at this morning on their website is $550. All right, $550. Now, if you are going to, that's the exam. The training ranges from 1,500 euros to 3,500 euros. All right. The truth is that things about data protection and privacy is expensive. Likewise, it goes with the remuneration when you get a very good organization to work with. Now, when you scan, there's a registration form here. If you are ready to write the international ones, just scan and register. We will get back to you. All right. So that is it. All right. So yes, that brings us to this point. So you can link up with me on any of this. Let's connect. Let's have interactions. And you can also join IIPGH. All right. So that is all for me.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel. Thank you. Mr. Richard, you have the floor.
Yeah, I think some hands were up. They would want to ask some questions. So let's just give them some 1 minute each or some few seconds each before I come in. I saw KJ's hand up and another. KJ, you still want to speak? Hello, KJ, are you there? Okay, if KJ is not there, Alex Into, you may want to unmute yourself and speak, please. Okay, let me just unmute you.
Okay, thank you very much, Richard, and good evening. Thank you very much, Emmanuel, for the presentation. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, thank you very much. So my question is actually more about the recording. Since I couldn't join on time, so I missed a bit of it. Is it going to be made available for at least those who registered to eventually go through?
Yes, the recording should automatically reach your email once it's done rendering.
Okay, thank you very much, Richard.
If you don't receive it, kindly just prompt us.
Okay, thank you.
Right. You're welcome.
And don't worry, the presentation will also be added to it.
Right.
Yeah.
KJ, shoot.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Gadasu. You've always been a titan, and thank you for this refreshing presentation. My question is, Ghana's data protection, 2012, it was conceived.
Yeah.
In the light of current technologies, or say emerging technologies, how robust it is, and how do we fine-tune it to meet the current demands, exigencies, and all that? How do we keep up? I know advocacy is going to come as part of, but beyond advocacy, how do we make it so robust? Thank you.
Okay. From us in the industry, if you look at it critically, 10 years for any law or anything relating to technology is too old. It will not meet the current demands. Of course, just look at it. The year 2012, what did Ghana know about what? AI. So our law, if you want to go deep down, it cannot. Okay, unless because, okay, global practices and, professionalism will come in. But the law in itself will not be able to deal adequately with emerging technologies like AI and other things. We may try to, infuse it and do it, but it will not appropriately address it. So the truth is that the law is due for what? Update and upgrade, which of course the commission is working on it. Last year, there were Ghana AI strategy, Ghana data strategy, all these things were looked at from that angle. So I'm sure very soon or later, there will be another law, which will be an upgrade of this one to a new one that will take charge of these new ones. So if you look at it, even across Europe and others, there are new enactment on AI specifically, because the existing law would not be able to adequately deal with these things. So yes, we need an overhaul. So we are trying to actually operate within the existing law, okay, but we need another law, okay, an upgrade. For example, currently in Parliament, the president say what? The people should go and declare their assets. Everybody is talking about it. Declaration of assets, that was the old law, and they hailed it as at that time. So you write your asset and you seal it, nobody sees it, nobody knows it. But now people are rising. Yes, it is an old law. Now let us improve it so that the people will declare. And Domelovo, following him, he said, no, anybody, unless you are a multi-million billionaire, it should not take you more than 3 hours to list your assets. Maybe the Dangotes will be thinking about, oh, this house that I bought on the Elon Musk. But me, I will use less than 1 minute to list and declare all my assets. So the law is not because of the changing nature. So yes, we need an overhaul of the law to improve it to meet current needs. And because technology keeps evolving, it might be changing always. Remember the US, when they realized their laws cannot ban TikTok, they had to go to Congress to enact a new law. All right. So those are the things that are going to happen. It will be very frequent. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Let's take the last one from Ahmed. Ahmed, if you can hear me, you can take the floor. Ahmed Agbasa. Yes, good evening.
Evening, boss.
Yes, good evening.
Yeah, I'm grateful to be here. And my question is brief. I want to know the standard procedure for organization to apply and set data protections.
To apply and do what?
To apply or standards, the standard procedure to apply for organization applying to be recognized.
Okay, to
And
get a
then,
license from the
if
Data
there's-
Protection Commission? Is that to get your
Exactly.
license? Oh, okay. It's very simple.
Yes.
You go to their website.
And then, and also the standard procedure for any information security for organizations. If there's any.
Okay. What information security I will not be able to say, but for you to get the license, okay, to get the data protection license, you go to their website. It's data protection.
Okay.
Yeah, so you go to app.dataprotection.org. So yeah, then you can log in and register there. So you register. Currently, they are upgrading their website. Well, you see, I'm able to tell you they are upgrading because we work closely together. But when you go to app.dataprotection.org.gh, you can register there. So you register your organization. Yes, there's register button there. Yes, I just there. You just register your organization. Then, after filling the information, right now, nobody can tell you that your organization, it will be this amount until after the registration. It is based on the information you provide and the sector. There are some sectors I can tell you, if you are in fintech, you are in health, automatically you get the highest, which is 1,800. Okay, that you renew every 2 years, you renew. As at 1,080. That is if the company is a fintech, insurance, bank, a healthcare institution. That is the range. But all other organizations fall below that one. And I think the next one is 1,200. We have 600. We have even 120. They are all there. Yeah, I think 180. It ranges from 180 to 1,800. Yes, that's the range. But as of now, I can't tell you how much it will cost your organization until you finish the registration. So once you finish the registration, you would be issued a data protection license, which you'll be using. Then every 2 years you renew. But when you are going to renew, then the tone changes. You are now supposed to provide what you call a compliance report. So you have to do the compliance report. So once you register today, they will give you a roadmap, the things that you are supposed to do. But most organizations fail to adhere to the roadmap. So by the time they are due for renewal, there are so many things they have not done. Or the person who did the registration has left the company. So they don't even have access to the platform. So those are the challenges there. But it's straightforward. So you don't need anybody to, well, you can get in touch for help, or you can go straight ahead and do it. So it's app.dataprotection.org.gh.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. You're welcome. All right, Kafi, I think you are done.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
do we still have some more time, or we are edging to a
we have
close?
overspent our time.
Oh, really? Okay. All right then.
Yeah.
There were some few more questions, but I think probably Gadasu can answer them and add them to the presentation that we can send to them later. Right. Okay. So by way of giving the closing remarks, yes, Gadasu, thank you very much for doing this. This is our first quarter webinar, and I'm glad it has happened. The year is packed already, and we have a lot of activities lined up. Gadasu has been with us since the organization started, and actually, I must say he was our first coding tutor when we started our coding lessons. So we're glad to still have him here doing this for us and sharing knowledge. IIPGH as a professional body, we have been doing these webinar sessions for some time now, and every quarter we have webinar sessions on cybersecurity and data protection. And throughout the year, we do this, which leads into the National Cybersecurity Awareness Month in October every year. So if you are new to this, every quarter, stay tuned to IIPGH's platforms, and you get to hear the announcements of other webinars happening. And in October also, where we'll celebrate or would observe the National Cybersecurity Awareness Month in collaboration with the Cybersecurity Authority. This year also, we are looking at having strategic collaborations with other institutions like Academic City, University, IDEC Holdings, and PECB to also deliver trainings in standards and ISO certifications, etc. So looking forward, we have a lot packed this year, including our celebration of the IIPGH Day, which comes up in March. In March, IIPGH turns 8 years, so we're going to have a list of activities happening. We would also be having our TICON Africa conference. This year, we're bringing it down to Ghana, so stay tuned, and we look forward to having you all in these events. So rightly, next webinar session will be announced, and since you are on our list, you'll be receiving these notifications for you to join. To become a member of the Institute, kindly visit the website www.iipgh.org or straight go to membership.iipgh.org/register. The process for registration is very simple, and once you register, a team will vet your application and then approve or reject within 7 days, and then you make your annual subscription dues. For professionals, annual subscription is 300 cedis, and for students, we have for 100 cedis. So on this note, we'll call this meeting to a close, and then let's stay tuned for our next webinar sessions. Thank you.
Thank you, and good night, everyone.
Right. Good night to you all.
Thank you.